Thanks for tuning in to the Better Business Podcast, where down-to-earth entrepreneurs like you and me get to share what it's like running their own business. If you'd like to get involved, listen in at the end of this episode to find out how. So let's hear from today's guest. Hello and welcome to the Better Business Podcast. My name is Justin Challoner and with me today is Ute Thomas. Ute runs Ute Thomas Coaching, and we're going to be finding out all about what she does and how she runs a business. So Ute, how are you? How's your week been so far?
Hi, Justin. Good morning still. It's been a great week. It's been a very, very good week for me so far today. Thank you. And the sun is shining here in Wales. So.
Oh, it always helps, doesn't it? Yeah, yes. Great stuff. So let's get into it. Let's find out a bit about you. Can you tell the audience a bit about your business and what you do?
Of course. So thank you very much for having me on the podcast. And yeah, my business, I am a leadership coach. So my background, I'm originally from Austria, which is probably a slightly unusual surname. And all throughout my life, I've always been drawn to working with people. So when I had to make a decision, is it machines or people? It was always clearly people. And I studied psychology, and then I worked for Lidl for a very long time. So my career was as a leader within the big global corporation, fast-paced food retail discounter Lidl. And during my time there as a leader, I fell in love with coaching. So my first experience with coaching was in and around 2003, when I did a short course within the organization, and I've adapted my leadership style ever since. So I've become what they call nowadays an empowering leader, somebody that believes in the power of the team, that often people have better ideas than you can ever have. And I find it's really paid off for me. I've created some incredible teams. I've worked with some amazing people. And in 2016, and I'm giving away my age here, I've given myself a 40th birthday present. And that was a master's degree in high performance leadership. And I studied that, which had a big element of coaching in there. And on the back of that, I then specialized even more. I did an ILM level 7 in coaching and executive coaching and mentoring, and worked as an internal coach and mentor all the way throughout my career as a senior leader and a director for Lidl. And yeah, a few months ago now, so about 3 months ago, I've decided enough is enough, nearly a quarter of a century being employed, and I've decided I will now go for it and set up my own business as a leadership coach, using my experience and my qualifications in what I do. So that's a little bit about me. Personally, I've got 2 teenage children, a son and a daughter. One is going through A-levels, one is going through GCSEs. So you can imagine the sometimes quite stressful, tense atmosphere at home at the moment with all the exam preparation. And I live in Penarth in beautiful Wales, where I enjoy the surrounding, going for walks. And just living with my husband, my 2 children, and my 3 chickens.
You got chickens?
I've got 3 chickens, yes.
Oh, wow. And what's it like raising chickens?
I wanted a productive animal. Maybe working for Lidl makes you very efficient and in the way you think and how you operate. And I thought, well, a dog is nice, but it takes a lot of work and it gives you bad love. But actually, I haven't got that much time. I'm allergic against cats. And I thought, if we get chickens, we get eggs. And it's good fun, actually. It's good fun collecting the eggs. And the chickens don't need much time or attention. So
Fantastic. So you've been running your own business for a very short time, really, not very long. How have you found it so far?
It's been completely different than I expected it to be. The truth is, I had this vision of, it'll be lovely. I will be coaching 5-6 hours a day, and everything else will kind of take care of itself. And the reality is, when you go into business, it's not like that. You're wearing two different hats. You're wearing the operational hat, Ute the coach, and then I'm wearing the business hat, which is what I had a huge learning curve. I think over the last 3 months, I've learned more than I probably ever have in any 3 months in my life, about everything, social media posting, about website, terminology such as SEO. I had no idea what that means. I now do, search engine optimization. I just learned lots and lots and lots about the different types of businesses, the types of insurance you require, how to market yourself, how to get sales. So it's been, Justin, to be honest, a really tough struggle. But I also know that if it's really tough, if you grow the most in those times. And already now, 3 months or so in, looking back, I can see I've come a really, really long way. I'm still got a very long way to go up that mountain, but I'm definitely come a long way already, and just stop and enjoy the views every now and again.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I know what you mean. I think a lot of people don't realize that business can be running your own business can be all consuming, can't it? And it's not just about what you do, it's also about all the other stuff like the marketing and the finance and all this extra stuff that you need to do in order to run a business.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. There's so much more. One thing I've got to say, I'm very, very lucky actually, in terms of the support available around me as well. So we've got various different organizations that really help you in these early days, such as Business Wales, Northwest Accelerator. There's so much support around, with just the practicalities of setting up a business. If you don't know, there's people there that you can ask, and I've made very, very good use of all these organizations around me, to get as much from people as possible, to learn, to grow, try out different things, ditch other things again. And I think one of the big challenges really was not what to do, but what not to do.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very easy to, or for me, I was, oh, this sounds like a great idea. That's amazing. That sounds fantastic. I'll do this. I'll do that. I'll do that. And before you know it, you're still sitting at 10 o'clock at night, trying to get everything organized. And it's also a skill to say, what do I need to do less of, or not at all? That doesn't actually advance my business. That doesn't really grow it. It's maybe a nice thing to do. But sitting there for 4 hours trying to get a pretty little Canva presentation going is probably not the best use of my time at the moment.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I think sometimes it is just better just to get someone else in to do certain things, whether it's marketing or finance or whatever, which is easier said than done, isn't it? Because you may not have the sort of financial ability to just pull people in. So obviously you've got to pay people, but it's just weighing it up, isn't it? Like, is it worth paying someone to relieve you of that time so you can focus on the business?
Exactly that. And a good example for me was when I first went into business. I thought I need a website. That's a basic, what I call a hygiene factor of any business, that people can find you and can actually see what you do. And I remember spending a good probably 10 days, 10 very, very, very long days, trying to build a website. I tried to do it as cheaply as possible, bought the Wix permission and tried to set it all up. And after the 10 days, I realized it's draining my energy completely. It's taking me away from actually doing other things that are far more useful. And I ended up hiring somebody to do the website for me. And it was, I wouldn't say a game changer, but it was a big weight off my shoulders at that time. And I did make a mistake. Quite honestly, I tried to get it done as cheaply as possible. And with hindsight, I wish that probably invested a little bit more. Because the website was fine. It was okay. It did the purpose, but that's all it did. It wasn't drawing people in. It was just, yeah, it was there. It was okay. People could find me, but I've got a story to tell at some point in the time we've got about what happened next, which is just incredible, actually. So,
Well, do tell us, do share your story.
I'll go for it now. Yes. So I was in a networking event in Bristol, and my husband came with me as well, and we were on the way back on the train. It was about 9:30 in the evening. It was an IOD, Institute of Directors event, and we were just chatting on the train about the event and the people and so on. And it's fairly quiet, the carriage, but there's one guy sat sort of opposite us, and he was working away on the laptop, and we were already just rolling into Cardiff when this guy approached me, and he said, "Oh, excuse me, I hope you don't mind, but I've kind of overheard what you're doing here, setting up a coaching business and so on." And my first thoughts were, what does he want? Skeptical straight away. Is it because one thing you do get used to is people approach you and they try and sell you lots of things when you're setting up a new business. But this guy, Mark is his name, as it turned out, absolutely incredible. He works, he set up his own business. It's called Hello Leads, just to give Mark a little picture as well. And he specializes in websites and getting them up the ranking, search engine optimization. He works, to be honest, it's still a bit nebulous. I'm not a very technically minded person, but whatever he does, it's great. He's got very successful business. And he said, "Look, if you want, if you give me your website, I'll just take a look at it for you." I think he actually told me later on, he felt a bit sorry for me. He could tell that I didn't have a clue what I was talking about, and we're just a blind leading a blind. And the next day he came back and said, "Oh, I had a look at your website. I've optimized it, and I've created this new website for you. See what you think." And I looked at the new website, and I was absolutely blown away. I mean, this guy, within just a couple of hours, created this whole new website for me, which was really punchy, really clean lines, very attractive and so on. So he effectively offered to then just do it for me pro bono. It doesn't charge me, he just seen as a little bit of a project, and for himself, where he's looking to get some feedback from me in return for helping me. And that's the sort of moments when you're close to giving up, and that happens, and somebody comes along and just lifts you up again, which makes such a big difference. And yeah, it's the difference, I think, sometimes of people keeping going and just giving up quite quickly. And Mark is one of those people who I will always champion in return if I can, because he's really helped me. So
Yeah. No, it's so important to just keep pushing on, because you do get those moments where you just think this is too much, and maybe sometimes for certain people, maybe it is time to kind of shut things down or something. But I think, if you're just starting out, you've just got to keep persevering, haven't you? And you just got to keep just kind of battling through, because you will face these challenges, won't you? Particularly when you start out afresh.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I think every person starting their own business will have slightly different challenges depending on where their expertise lies and where their vulnerabilities are as well. So yeah.
And I think in terms of getting external help with your business, it's interesting, your story. You able to get a really good website effectively for free. In terms of monetary, there was no kind of exchange of money at that particular time. Now, not everyone can do that, but it's those moments where businesses can help each other can just be a real lifesaver, can't they? And I think that if you can find people that can help you and you can help them, then that's worth pursuing as well, isn't it?
Completely. And I find that in the business community, it's very different to the corporate culture that I used to operate in, where there's a sense of if you're not first, you're last.
Mm.
It's can be very competitive. There's always an element of colleagues and team for sure, but when it comes down to it, it's all about your output, your KPIs, what you deliver, and you always want to make sure you're not in the bottom half, you're in the top half, and that requires a certain, I would say, interdependence, helping each other out, but only to a certain degree as well, because you don't want the other person to actually overtake you. And working in the business community now, it's a very, very different mindset. Maybe I'm just very lucky, but I've had so many offers of support, and it's a constant give and take. I give where I can, but right now, because I'm so early on in my journey, I'm also relying on other people and taking and accepting that sometimes you just need to accept help from other people is so important at this stage, because you can't do it all by yourself. You need support in whatever form that comes, whether that is practical skills like marking a website or mentorship, offers of mentorship, or just sometimes a nice cup of coffee with somebody that you just offload some things. And I find the business community is not competing against each other in that sense. It's a genuine kind of feeling of, we understand where you are. We've been there ourselves. And
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to the day I can give that back once I'm established a little bit more, and once I can give back to others as well.
Yeah. And I think when you do work with other people who are sort of professionals in their field, you just find that they just know so much more than you. Like you said with the website, I think anyone can build a website, because the tools out there and the various sort of services out there are relatively easy to get a handle on. But then it's all the other stuff, isn't it? It's the kind of the SEO and the tags and stuff. I don't know much myself, but
Yes.
all that other stuff, and they've got all that knowledge from probably years of doing what they're doing that they bring to it, which people like you or me, we're experts in our field, and it might be 5-10 years down the line we've learned enough from other people to kind of, but when you're starting out, you're kind of just really just starting with your knowledge, your experience, and your training, and you don't really necessarily have much else, do you? So getting other people in who have all that experience and all that all those resources does really help, doesn't it?
Completely. Yeah, completely. And it's funny how it works, because sometimes you could go through a low point and think, oh, do I keep going? Do I just look for a job now? Do I, what's the point in this? I don't feel I'm getting anywhere. And then suddenly something really good happens. And that's gives you the motivation to keep going, to try again, to actually be fully in it again, to be passionate about what you do and remind yourself as to why you're doing what you're doing. And for me, that's a passion for being of service to other people, helping other people be the best version of themselves when it comes to coaching, mentoring, leadership, which I generally enjoy and love. And it's just a business I can drag you down occasionally. But similar to you, Justin, it sounds like we're both sort of technical. Well, you're way more of a technical expert than me, that's for sure, because you run a video company already. But yeah, there's so much to it. And with the website, I paid that organization initially quite a small sum, but what I didn't realize was that gets me actually nowhere. Apparently, AI can't even find my website if you're looking for it. So I had no idea. I thought you just set up a website, you switch it on, publish it, go live. That's the end of that. But of course, the reality is very different. And that's where I've learned a lot in the last few weeks even.
Yeah, yeah. Great stuff. So you mentioned your passion about helping people. Do you want to just tell me a bit more about that? You know, where does that passion come from?
It's a good question. It's just me. I think it's just always been me. You see, when I was 18, I did my it's called Matura, which is the equivalent of A levels in Austria. And I was like, what do I do now? Go to uni, or if I do so, what do I want to study? And I always knew I didn't want to work with machines. I wanted to work with people. So I was always drawn to people, more that social element. And I actually ended up living in Ireland for a couple of years, in Republic of Ireland, just working various different jobs, nothing too fancy. And I then all my careers are from studying psychology in Edinburgh to working within teams, in leadership positions, working with people, empowering people, seeing the amazing things people can do if they have the right environment around them, if they have psychological safety around them, if they feel valued, if they feel that their contributions really matter. And that's the sort of thing that makes my heart sing. I just love it. I just enjoy it. And I then did the formal qualifications, the master's level in executive coaching and mentoring, and I loved every second of it, and I enjoyed applying that knowledge. Internally, I was an internal coach for Lidl, and also coach people in the NHS and Wagamama, for example, so a couple of other organizations, Marks and Spencer's. And every time it's the same, you see people grow and have those aha moments when they have a great insight. And knowing I was part of that journey, and I don't do it for them. I just listen, and I just ask questions, and I just help them shape their goal. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that.
It must be
that's
very,
where my passion comes from. So.
It must be very satisfying to see, the effects of what you're doing. Have you got any examples, any sort of specific examples of people that you've helped? Maybe not necessarily in your current business, but with your coaching training, that you've implemented. Do you have any examples of success?
Yes, there's many. As in success, as in I've probably got one that's most tangible with results and figures, etc. Which I was coaching. I won't mention names on here because I haven't got the permission. It's a highly confidential business. But I was coaching somebody within HR who was responsible for a large cohort of around 3,000 individuals, 3,000 people from a HR perspective. And the staff turnover was very high, so it was above average. It was in the retail industry, and retail industry is generally around about 32% of staff turnover would be around average. But in that particular area, it was almost 50%, so extremely high. And losing that many people constantly having to replace is a costly business. The average employee would cost around £2,000 to replace. That would just be a part-time contract. If you're talking about management leadership, the figures can go up to around about £30,000 per person to replace if they leave. So the person I was coaching was struggling. He was getting really stressed out because the figures weren't right. As in, it was under the magnifying glass a little bit from above what's going on there. And we engaged it was a 6-month coaching program. And really we dug down to what really was the underlying cause of the poor performance, and it was effectively a lack of self-belief, a lack of his presence in the room, in the boardroom, wasn't authoritative in any way. I think it's fair to say he was an incredibly intelligent individual, but not necessarily most outgoing or influential of others. And through the coaching engagement, he changed tact a little bit. He grew in confidence. He had a clear goal of what he wanted to achieve. I worked on that with him. We actually did some walk and talk coaching sessions as well in beautiful nature. And ultimately, after the 6 months, the outcome was that the staff turnover percentage had reduced significantly. After about a year, that was sitting at average of 32%. And it's then just kept on getting better and better. And from being the worst performing area in the country for that business, it moved to number 4 nationally. So huge impact on the business, on the money that was saved as a result of not having to replace staff constantly, but most importantly on that individual, his confidence was just phenomenal, and he became a really equal partner in that senior team, which was the most satisfying thing to see. And that stayed. That's not gone backwards. So
yeah. Wow, that's quite a transformation, isn't it? And I think it just shows how important people are to a business. It's not just about the widgets or the machines. That if you've got people that are being the best they can be, then that can really transform how things work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here at Swansea University Bay Campus right now, and we've just had a 2-hour event around welfare and the impact on performance. And it was mostly HR professionals that were in the room. And I think after a 2-hour long discussion, we can talk all about employee assistance programs and national living wage and benefits and et cetera, et cetera. And I think one organization actually offers duvet days, which I've never heard of before, but they offer up to 5 duvet days a year. And you can have all these amazing things, but ultimately, if you don't feel great or your leadership isn't good, your boss doesn't care about you or your contribution and just want you to hit the KPIs at all times and nothing else matters, then none of these initiatives are really that impactful on the whole. So completely agree.
Yeah. Great. So tell me about your customers. Like, who are the kind of people that you're looking to connect with so you can help them?
I like to use the term be of service. Maybe it's just my coaching training, but we don't help people. We service others. We're of service to others. The people I've traditionally worked with so far were always leaders in businesses such as Lidl or actually Aldi as well, Marks and Spencer, Wagamama. So area manager, head of department level, where my expertise is retail. That's where I can mentor people as well. So anybody that's working in any kind of retail environment, I can actually mentor rather than just coach. And the big difference really is you can add a little bit of your own experience or give a little bit more guidance, perhaps if they're completely stuck with a challenge. My ideal client really is also, I've worked with people in the NHS quite a bit before. The NHS is going through major transformations and stress levels are very high. And again, that's massively felt by the teams that work within the NHS. So I've worked with leaders in the NHS, and I'm also coaching currently, and that was unintentional. It just sort of happened, but in the higher education sector. So 2 of my coachees are currently lecturers at different unrelated universities. And again, at the end of the day, you always coach the person. You never coach the problem. And one of the things I learned early on setting up my business, you have to niche. You have to niche. It's important. Coaching is a crowded world. There's so many coaches out there. Unless you niche, you will not be successful. And so I thought, okay, I'll niche in what I know. Retail leadership. The honest truth is, when you're a coach, you work with most people. If they're interested in growing and in becoming better, in overcoming certain challenges, and that could range from lack of confidence to go into difficult conversations, which is quite a common one. I'm surprised how many people shying away from having a difficult, uncomfortable conversation with somebody at their work. It could be just not really having a clear vision. So coaching can be very effective in helping people create a very clear vision and the motivation to move towards that, and an action plan to move towards that vision. Or it could just simply be making difficult decisions. Again, so many people I've worked and partnered with over the years struggling with bigger decisions. They want to weigh up too much facts, perhaps, before they just make a decision. And sometimes you just haven't got that luxury of time. So anybody that's in a leadership position that is stuck in some way, wants to grow, or wants to just simply be promoted. I've worked with somebody before. She was an area manager, and her only goal was to be promoted to regional director. And we partnered together around that simple goal, and she achieved it, which is great. She achieved it. She was on the director development path by the end of the coaching arrangement.
So Ute, you've been running a business just for a relatively short time now, but what would you say to someone who is just about to start their own business, or they're thinking about it? What kind of sort of lessons have you learned that you would share with people like that?
So one thing that is quite important is to have patience, because business doesn't, especially when you come from maybe corporate where everything happened yesterday, going into business requires patience. Things take time, and things take time to build up. You may already have plenty of connections in the industry that you want to operate in, but even so, it's not a given that those connections will actually get you work, and you have to be patient, and you have to keep on going out there, keep on meeting people. For me, that was highly important, that face-to-face meeting, not to get sort of, it's easy to bury yourself behind your laptop and doodle around with whatever things you want to do, but actually getting out there, be there to be seen, speak to people. Again, depending on what kind of business, that may be different from person to person. Make sure you have some sort of financial cushion as well. So that takes potentially some of the edge away, that you feel you must be successful by a certain time. I've given myself up to 2 years, which is quite a long time, but I wouldn't have gone into that if I couldn't afford to live for 2 years based on what I've got at the moment. And again, it's more likely that you will then keep going. And you keep pushing yourself, and you will make this a success. If you only give yourself 3 months, then that, I would not be able to live off what I currently earn with coaching. But having a bit more time is probably a good thing, and for that you need to have some money that you can fall back onto as well. And I think one of the good bits of advice that a good friend of mine from Austria, actually, she gave me is find partners, find buddies that not necessarily for your business long term, but just parts of the journey that are there with you. So you don't need to do it all alone. It can be lonely. It can be you're left with your own emotions at times. There's no colleague you can just offload to, especially if you're a solopreneur like I am. And having other people there that you can meet up with or go into a project together. Example, I'm working on a project with a local business coach at the moment to deliver workshops together. And it's early stages, but it's a nice collaboration that we've got going, and we meet for coffee and we can share these experiences as and when it happens as well. So find people or buddies or partners for parts of the journey. And most importantly, be kind to yourself. I think it comes back to the be patient, but be kind to yourself. I sometimes try and think if I was my younger self, would I beat myself up because I didn't get that done quick enough, or would I be a bit more understanding and kind and say, okay, it's okay, you're trying really hard. Yeah, you can't have things that you want straight away. It takes time. But having that understanding and making sure that your own welfare doesn't suffer too much. Yeah, building business, hard work. It's long hours sometimes. I'm lucky where I live. 5 minutes I'm at the seafront. Another 10 minutes I'm in the woods. Just get out there once a day for at least an hour just to recharge the batteries.
Yeah, yeah, it's so important, isn't it? I mean, the whole mental health thing is you can't ignore it. And when you're on your own, when you're running a business, you don't really have, you don't have a HR department where you can kind of get some support. You're on your own, aren't you? So most of the time, anyway. So looking out for yourself is so important, isn't it? It's really, really important.
Completely agree. And it's about some weeks you just have to give it your everything, and that's okay. You've got to manage your energies with what's happening in your business. So if opportunities come up and it means you work 6 or 7 days, then take it. Don't shy away from it. Nobody said it was going to be easy. But just make sure the week after you then try and claw back an extra day where you just recharge. Being self-aware is very, very
Mm.
important. Knowing how much you can give and knowing when it's time to stop now. It's really key. You are your business a lot of the time when you're going first into business. You are the business. You are your most precious asset. Without you, the business does not exist. So if you run yourself down, or burn yourself out in the process, then it's a lose-lose. And
Yeah,
if you just invest that hour a day to recharge, to feel a bit better about yourself, then it's more likely that you will win in business.
absolutely, absolutely. You sort of touched on it with the fact that you have the beach nearby, and you can have a stroll in the woods. What other practices do you have to kind of help you cope with running a business? Are there any sort of things that you do, like rituals, or just regular things that you do?
Hmm. Yes, I think I'm one of the people. I'll try out everything almost. I've tried out many, many different things, and some of them stick, and some of them stick some of the time. And I I do meditation, but I don't do it regularly. I do it when I need it. I journal, but I don't do it regularly. I do it when I need it, and I get out into nature. That is probably my most constant way to balance life and work. Um, but other than that, I've got two teenage children as well at home, so they take quite a bit of my time, usually cooking. So not really currently any great rituals. One, I suppose, fairly regular ritual, if you want to call it that, because I've still got my family friends in Austria, and I find going back there for me is not just a nice to have, it's an essential. I try and go back every 8 to 10 weeks for a few days, 4 or 5 days or so, and I don't bring my laptop. I do bring my mobile phone, but where my father lives, he has no Wi-Fi. It's in the middle of the Vienna forest. You might as well leave it at home, and it's proper recharge time. And
Yeah,
I feel huge surges of energy when I then come back. I'm not just internally motivated, but I feel physically I've got so much more energy after just a few days away like that.
yeah. There's something to be said for just completely cutting off everything, and it's just so hard to do these days, because if you go on holiday, there will be Wi-Fi and everything else, and I find it really hard to completely switch off, because you, it's just really difficult to kind of completely separate those things. So anything that can be done to sort of completely, shut those things down and just be able to just be yourself without all those distractions, I think is really important.
Yes, yes, yeah, and I really recommend it. It's uncomfortable at first,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we're creatures of habit. We tend to pick up our phone. I don't know, there's statistics on how often we pick it up every single day, and probably every couple of minutes just to see. And when you haven't got that, it's almost like a sense of loss at first. You feel lost. I was like, oh my
Mm.
God, what do I do? What do I do with my time? Where's the next input coming from? But that's exactly when you start to recharge, when you these holidays never for me comfortable. It's always uncomfortable. Holiday, it takes often 3 or 4 days to come down, and that coming down feeling is not a good feeling. And oh, I know people like routine. I like routines. I like to just keep doing the same thing over and over. And when you break that routine, it feels uncomfortable. But the value from it is worth every second of just going through that.
Yeah, yeah. So another thing I was going to ask is, do you have any, you obviously, you service people, that's how you put it. You, provide a service for people, and you help them to kind of achieve their goals and so on. Do you have someone sort of helping you? Do you have like a mentor, or have you had mentors in the past? And, how has that affected you?
Yes, I'm very lucky to have been or still being mentored right now by a wonderful lady called Diane Walker. Diane is an experienced coach, an experienced mentor. She mentors me over the phone, so we've never met face to face. I've never seen
All
her
right.
on a screen. But there's something great about that actually, because
Mm,
it doesn't matter what we look like. It's just purely what she sees and how she helps me. And I met Diane through the European Mentoring and Coaching Council. So I'm a member of that organization, as is she, and they run a mentorship program. And there's all the different profiles of everybody available, and I come across her profile and I instantly thought she's the one for me, and I contacted her, and it was an instant connection, I would say. And Dan is one of the most generous people out there I've ever met. It's not unusual that we can talk for 3 hours on the phone.
mm,
And she just gives everything she knows. So yeah, I'm very lucky to have met Diane in that way. She's really helped me with the not just the coaching side of things, but really the setting up the business side of things as well. She's given me best practice guides, go this, do that, don't do that, from her own experience. So Diane has helped me an awful lot and is continuing to help me. Things like preparing for networking events. Nobody tells you what to do there when you first go into business, but actually there's ways to get lots more from these events as well, rather than just turn up.
yeah.
So yeah, she's great. And then I mentioned Mark already, from Hello Leads. Not so much mentorship, but just that practical help with SEO, optimized websites,
Mm,
and many, many other people around me, really. My husband is such a great supporter of me. He really believes in me, and he keeps cheering me on every single day, which really helps me as well. So yeah, there's other people as well, but those three probably stand out to me at the moment.
yeah. It's really important to have. It's great to have people, that you can turn to, and someone who's more experienced, that they can sort of, yeah, just be someone that you can use as a soundboard, and yeah, just be there for you when you need them. So
Yes.
it's great you've got that. It's great. That's great to hear that you get on so well.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Very lucky.
So, what are your sort of future hopes and dreams, as it were? What are your hopes for the next year? Where do you sort of see yourself in 5 years' time?
It's a good question. Um, and I know that from life experience, things don't always happen the way you see them, but it's good to have a vision where you want to be. And for me, it's all about building the business now. Little things are starting to happen. I meet people from interesting backgrounds, sort of Swansea University, for example, or another person I know from Surrey University. They're interested in coaching. It's just really building those relationships, building those opportunities, not saying no too much at the moment. I know it's contrary to what I said earlier on, but if an opportunity presents itself, just take it. No matter what, you can always say no later on if it turns out to be not of use. So yeah, it's really just keep growing. My ideal kind of scenario is that I would like to work with organizations. So really going to go organizational coaching. Currently I'm coaching mostly individuals. But working within organizations is where my expertise lies as well. And if I could fast forward 5 years, I would say I probably would be collaborating with 2 or 3 different organizations and support their internal leadership, coach them, mentor them, save the organization's money as well in the process. So that would be my ideal outcome.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Well, we've sort of come to the end of our time now, Ute. It's been really, really interesting talking to you and hearing your stories. Before we finish, can you tell the audience how they can learn more about your business and where they can find you online?
Sure. So probably 2 ways. One is LinkedIn. I am active, although I accidentally deleted my LinkedIn profile yesterday. I managed to resurrect it quite quickly as a moment of panic. So my name, it's Ute, Ute, and Thomas, Thomas. You'll find me on LinkedIn. On the leadership coaching. I think there's only one of me on there with that name. And I've just, thanks to Mark, I've just launched that new website yesterday, which is Ute Thomas Leadership, all one word.com. So that's utethomasleadership.com. But if anybody's interested about coaching, leadership coaching, and mentoring, there's quite a bit on there now as to how I work, what I do, and how I can be of service to others.
Great, fantastic. Well, we'll put the links in the description of the podcast so people can click on those and follow you there. But brilliant. Thank you, Ute. I really appreciate your time today. It's been, really good talking to you. And I appreciate your time. And I wish you all the best with your business.
Thank you very much, Justin. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Thanks, Ute. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
You've been listening to the Better Business Podcast, brought to you by Farsight Films and Utility Warehouse. Farsight Films creates memorable video content for your business that helps you stand out and get noticed. Get in touch now to find out how Farsight can help boost your video marketing strategy today. Utility Warehouse is an award-winning provider of comprehensive utility services that bundles all your utilities into one, helping you to save money. Get in touch for a no-obligation 15-minute consultation that could bring you significant annual savings. Check out the QR codes on screen or click the links in the description to find out more. My name is Justin Challoner and today's guest has been Ute Thomas from Ute Thomas Coaching. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment. All the best and keep building a better business.